Welcome to Michelle's Cooking Corner. Thank you for joining us. In this segment, I'm going to show you how to make a nice meal that it might seem like you put in a lot of effort, but you really didn't. And this meal, I'm going to tell you right now, I have someone still asking me to make it for them, and I'm not going to make it right now, and I'm going to eat it myself and not share it. So this meal is a nice rosemary lemon chicken with the honey glaze as the entree. The appetizer is going to be some stuffed mushrooms with some minced clam and a nice stuffing that I'm going to make with it. And the side dishes will be some spinach with carrots and some seasoned potatoes. And this is a nice down home springy type meal. It's not too filling, but it'll fill you up. So stay tuned. We're gonna start with our chicken. I know normally we start with our appetizer, but because the chicken is gonna take a little longer to cook, we're gonna start with this first, and then we'll dive right into the stuffed mushrooms because that is a pretty simple dish. So as you see here, I've already taken a whole chicken and I've cleaned it. I promise you I've cleaned it. I've already soaked it in vinegar, cut off all the fat, and I've cleaned it to the best of my ability that I would eat it at. Probably cleaner than any restaurant that you'll find. And we're going to season it. So the first thing is you just take some regular seasoned salt. If you notice, I've already peeled the skin back. And normally when you cut a chicken in half, the skin is intact, and then God knows what's living underneath it. So I always cut the skin back and get all the fat, as much fat as I can from underneath it. So I just season it with some regular seasoning salt, and just use your discretion. And again, this is a nice down-home meal, a meal that I normally make on a Sunday. And I normally, when I take my chicken out, it's at like 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm stumbling in because I want to make it the next day. And yes, that's the last thing I remember doing when I get up is to take the chicken out of the oven, take the chicken out of the freezer and put it in the sink in some water. God knows how I remember that out of all things. And this is just some regular garlic powder. Put that on there. And it might sound generic that you're just using some just regular, you know, baked chicken flavorings, but I'm telling you, when you add this rosemary, it's gonna kick it into a whole new level. This is just some celery salt. Celery salt is a really good southern type of seasoning that you use. It's very salty, so you don't want to use too much, but it's very unique as well. It has its own flavoring. Many times I've woken up in the morning like, what the hell is that what is that in my tooth? And it's a piece of celery salt. And then you take some pepper, pump it on there, and make that look nice and pretty. And then you take some butter. Don't be afraid to use real butter. This is salted, sweet butter you can find in your grocer's dairy section, and you take a whole stick. Take a whole stick of butter. Why? Because you're using a whole chicken, and you just stuff it in there and make sure you get underneath all that skin that you've hopefully cleaned and you've cut back, and you can stuff it in there because you want to make sure you get all the fat and whatever else is living underneath that chicken. Only God knows what's under there. So you want to make sure you don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. And if you're one of those cooks that can't get their hands dirty, then I just can't eat with you, because that means you probably didn't wash your food right. And I'm not gonna eat that. So I always leave some butter in the middle as it's baking so it can spread apart. It could spread to each side of the chicken. And the reason why I cut the chicken in half is, one, for cleaning purposes, and then two, it just tastes better when you're eating it. You can make sure all of the chicken is thoroughly seasoned. So look at that, look at my hands. Ugh. But it's gonna taste so good in the end. Now, this is where whoever you're with or whoever you're cooking for is gonna wanna marry you with. Get some fresh rosemary. Do not get the rosemary that they sell on the shelves because it's very hard. Rosemary is not edible. It doesn't turn to dust very well. It doesn't, when you dry it, you can't eat it. It's gonna be in your teeth. It's just not really, really good. So get some fresh rosemary. As you can see, it's very, very soft and it's very leaf-like. So you take that, leave it on the stem. Don't break it apart because again, why? It's not edible. You can't chew it up and eat it with your chicken. You can only, the taste comes from it actually, when it actually starts cooking, you can smell it. So you take a nice, generous stem of rosemary, it smells so good, and you put it underneath the skin that you parted so well, and you put it underneath the chicken. Be very generous with it. So I put it under the first layer, and of course I washed it, and then I also put it underneath the actual chicken. And when this starts cooking, boy, oh boy, it's gonna light up the whole entire house. If you ever use like cloves when you cook, and you know what that smell is like, it doesn't smell the same, but the strength of it is very similar. So put it underneath your chicken, put it all around your chicken, be very generous with it, make sure you wash it. And now it's ready to bake. And I know you're probably saying, hey Michelle, where's the lemon? I was just saying the same thing. Totally forgot about the lemon. So we're gonna make sure you roll your lemon. It's nice and soft. I've already rolled this. Cut off the edges as such. Cut it in half and squeeze it. I hope you guys have been going to the gym. Squeeze it all over your chicken. Right on the top of it, and you can get right in the middle. You don't want to put it under the skin. Why? Because lemon is very tangy, has a very pungent flavor, and it also has a tendency to dry out your food, so you don't want to do that. And as you see, there are some seeds that are gonna pop out. That's fine, just leave it. Just remember, don't bite into it, because I've done that on several occasions as I'm trying to be cute, eating my rosemary lemon chicken, bite into a seed, and I just have to excuse myself from the table. I totally forget what I'm saying. So you take your pieces of lemon wedges, slice them up as such, nice and thin. Remember, presentation is everything. Use the whole lemon. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of your chicken, of your lemon. And remember to make each meal an event. And don't be scared of the knife, because God forbid you cut yourself in the middle of cutting this lemon, and that acid with the feeling with an actual fresh cut, you're liable to go to the ER. So cut up your lemon, and this is rosemary honey lemon chicken with a honey glaze. Remember, you put your honey on last, because what does honey do? It's a sweetener, and it also darkens your meal, so it makes it bake even faster or cook even faster. So you don't want it to burn. So you leave it like this until it's almost done, and then you put your honey on last. That's the very, very last step. Literally, like right before you pull it out of the oven. So we're gonna cover this up nice and tight. Doesn't that look gorgeous with the green and the yellow? It's not black and yellow like that popular song that we keep hearing about, and I'm still trying to figure out what's black and yellow. But this is a nice green and yellow. Cover it up nice and tight so that no air escapes. And this is gonna cook on about between 350 to 375. I've got the oven set for about 365, and it's already preheated. Put this on for about 30 to 45 minutes, and it'll cook nice and well for you. Pop this in the oven, and there you go. You have your rosemary honey. You have your rosemary lemon chicken with the honey glaze. Well, not the glaze yet, because it's still gotta go on, but as soon as that happens, I'll let you know. And stay tuned so that we can go straight into our appetizer.